Hi guys, welcome back, and today I'll be doing the next part for What If Taba Went to Earth with Goku. Now, last time we left off with the beginning of the Android saga going down, well, pretty differently. We saw some big changes in our story, with the likes of Dr. Gero making a few more Android 19s in this timeline, and we'll see how our story continues from here. We join our group only a day after the Battle of the Androids, where we see them training once again. You see, with the threat of these new androids coming around, they are unsure of not only when they will show up, or how strong they will be, and they are trying to compare it to the last androids they beat. However, the Doctor did promise that they would be stronger, so the group right now is training very hard to make sure that, well, they are going to win the fight. And as of the moment, the likes of Goku, Enma, and Gohan are all trying to teach Hisame how to become a Super Saiyan. But the girl struggles, as if something is blocking her. Something just in her brain can't seem to get it. With Gohan trying to help her by describing what he felt when he turned Super Saiyan, being around the same age, he hoped that he would be able to help his cousin here. However, the girl can't grasp it, and for now, they try for a little while longer. But once they see that she is going to need quite a big push or a helping hand, they decide to give her her own time to work it out and continue their training. Now, during this first day, pretty much near the end, the time travelers reappear. They had come back just to try and figure out what was happening, with future Hisame asking what happened with the androids, and they are caught up on everything that happened only the other day. With the time travelers caught up and pretty much in shock, and with the description they heard, the likes of Trunks asked just to give a bit more detail about them. And once this is done, they realise that these aren't the androids they wanted to warn them about. In fact, these are very different androids completely. With Hisame and Trunks coming to the idea that their timelines are vastly different, and this also makes sense to do with their timeline not having changed yet. After having heard this, Trunks realizes that this is probably for the best. What he can sense from the group's max power, they are actually significantly weaker than the androids from their timeline, and goes on to explain this, with the likes of the Sun family pretty happy that maybe the androids that they've been warned about weren't the ones that showed up first, and then go on to explain how the Doctor warned them that more androids are coming. And slowly, the pair begin to piece together what's happening. Android 17 and 18 haven't been released yet, and they're going to be released very soon. And the likes of Goku and Emma are starting to think of a new way to start upping their training. Keep in mind that they have just been told that they are nowhere in the same league as the androids that they were warned about, so they need to come up with something new. So for now, the time travelers ask if they could stick around and get some training in with the group. After all, their timeline hasn't been saved by this, so they might as well get stronger to maybe be able to save it at some point. The Sun family, of course, accept this, and the next day they all start training with one another, with Hisame happy to spend some more time with her father, whereas Trunks is a bit upset that he can't see his too much. However, after sensing the time travelers around, Vegeta and the humans would come checking up on this power. After all, it's familiar to the time travelers, so they might as well check it out. And when they find out it is the time travelers, much like the likes of the Sun family wads, they are filled in. With the time travelers basically saying how they are pretty sure they destroyed a different set of androids completely, so they are going to help them get ready for the next set and maybe fight them. With the group unsure of how long it will take, they start training, and eventually the likes of Vegeta finds out that Trunks is his son. And it doesn't take him long to figure this out, maybe just after a short interaction. And this makes the Saiyan Prince start training the boy more personally, with future Trunks getting taken to Capsule Corp to train in the gravity chamber, while future Hisame sticks around to train with her father and uncle. The group training for only a few days before they sense something strange, something they can't explain. It seems like a mix between a lot of things, but they can't really figure out what the hell it can be. And right now, they just want to figure out what this power is. All they know is it's incredible and it's terrifying. The group heading over to the power they can sense, with them soon arriving at some weird lab in a mountain, where they can see an open door, and they see Dr. Gero down the hallway to the door, talking to something over a table, some giant green thing they have never seen before, with there being two pods, with one being open and another one with the writing of 18 on it. And in the room, underneath the doctor, is a table. and on that table is a male, black-haired, laid there motionless, with Hisame and Future Trunks sharing a nod. Seeing that the thing on the table is Android 17, the pair see he isn't active and know now is their best chance to strike. They both share a nod before jumping up to Super Saiyan and send a massive barrage of blasts down into the hallway, never stopping for a few seconds. Hoping that this will destroy the lab completely, they wait a few seconds to see when the smoke clears. However, something weird happens. Once the smoke disappears, the weird creature is stood there, staring at them, and he even calls them out by name, which is shocking, and the creature has its arm out, having blocked all the attacks. Both hybrids look at him and are confused, and the creature seems happy to see them again, before the other fighters show themselves as well, looking down the direction of the lab. The Doctor sees both Enma and Goku, and he calls out for this creature, named as Cell, to kill them. However, the creature refuses, saying how he will kill Goku and Enma when he is perfect. So hurry up and finish those androids, with Dr. Gero saying how he created him. He will do as he says, kill those Saiyans. However, once again, Cell refuses. Cell knows he is the strongest thing on Earth right now, and nothing can push him around. He says how they made a deal. Once it has been done, and he becomes perfect, he will kill Goku and Enma. Plus, this way it gives the Saiyans a chance to grow stronger, and have an interesting fight. After all, he's got a bit more Saiyan DNA in him this time. Not just because of Enma, but also Hisame's here as well. He's definitely more Saiyan in this timeline, and probably a little bit less Namekian, and also he's got some more Frieza's DNA because he fought everyone on the planet. But that's just a small side note. And with this done, the creature gestures for the Z Fighters to leave, and explains how in 6 days he will become perfect. He will be stronger than anything in the universe. And it doesn't matter how much you train in this time, the moment I become perfect, you're all dead. And this gives Goku an idea. With every other fighter getting ready to fight, other than Vegeta, keep in mind, Vegeta knows that if he can go away and train, he might be able to overtake this thing. The likes of Goku and Emma grab everyone and pull them back a little bit. With the pairs smiling and nodding, Goku even speaks up saying, 6 days? That'll be more than enough to get stronger than you, but if we're gonna fight you, you have to promise not to hurt anyone on the planet. And once the 6 days are up, we'll have an incredible fight with one another. And we'll meet right here if you want. And like I said, don't hurt anyone on this planet. I can tell you're like me and my brother, so you will want to fight us. So I trust you. And with that said, Cell nods in agreement. Dr. Gero is annoyed at this, but he just continues putting his trust in his ultimate creation and works on Android 17 on the table. Keep in mind, I've said this in the last part, Android 17 and 18 aren't complete. They were put on the back burner once they wouldn't follow his orders. So he's just sort of finishing it off right now. And he already knows that if he can absorb 17 and 18, he'll be more than strong enough to defeat Son Goku and Enma. Now with this done, the Z Fighters all fly away, with Goku and Enma sharing a bit of a look of excitement at one another. With Cell having such an incredible power, Goku can't help but feel excited. Enma is also excited, but he also feels a very strong desire to save the planet. Now, everyone's confused at how they're going to get strong enough to take down Cell in this short time. But the two Saiyans explain what the hyperbolic time chamber is, and everyone is kind of shocked that they have never brought this up before. But Enma goes on to explain how it's actually kind of strenuous for you to use, and it takes a lot of mental fortitude and a lot of training to be used to it. We tried using it once before, and we both went a bit stir crazy for a while. So here we are hoping that we can, use it more efficiently. And with this done, everyone heads up towards Kami's lookout, where we see the young Guardian standing there, doing some meditation, having been keeping watch on what's happening on the planet. Now, Kami here, like I said, is much younger. After all, he made his wish, and also a lot more stronger, but that'll be brought up in just a few seconds. Now, with everyone on the lookout, Goku and Ember do give Kami did rundown of what's going to happen. With Kami understanding that it's best for them to train in the hyperbolic time chamber, he does allow them. Kami understands that this is the best way for everyone to win, and he also offers some help. He explains how if the group was to head off and collect the Dragon Balls, they could just have them at hand in case things go south. And worst case scenario, he'll hide off in other worlds so he can't be killed, and they can still use the Dragon Balls. With the group understanding this, everyone heads off, with the first group to go into the time chamber being, much like normal, Vegeta and Trunks. The others spread off looking for the Dragon Balls, and it does not take them long at all. The hardest part is having to share the radar out, but even then, once they have a general idea, they're all so fast that they can cover the planet in just a few seconds. Now, once they are all collected, the group obviously just hand them over to Kami, with Kami explaining how he has actually made Shenron a lot stronger. He explains how now not only is he able to grant 3 more wishes, he can bring back multiple people at a time just with one wish. People are happy to hear this, as if things go south, at least everyone can be brought back in one wish, and luckily that should lead to them winning this fight regardless of what happens. But the group is sort of hoping that they don't have to use the Dragon Balls. Now, with this done, they spend some time strategizing, with Goku and Enma sharing the idea of mastering Super Saiyan. This is something they have talked about before, and they are working towards it, but right now this seems like the best chance they've got. Mastering the form, making it basically base, is the next step in evolution for Super Saiyan for these two, and they believe that they just need to start throwing ideas back and forth on how to do this. Alongside this, they decide who should go in with one another, and Goku obviously wants to take in Gohan, and this is allowed because, well, it means that Enma can go in with Hisame. But Enma's at a bit of a weird point here. You see, he can't spend a full year in there with both of his daughters, Hisame and future Hisame. So he decides that he will cut his time down to 8 months, but he can go in with both of the Hisames, which will make him a bit stronger, but also means he has a smaller time frame to work with. Now, after a day, the likes of Vegeta and Trunks leaves the time chamber, with Vegeta coming out with a power level of 16 Bill in base and 850 Bill in Super Saiyan, and Trunks comes out in a power level of 19 Bill in base and 900 Bill in Super Saiyan. And here, much like normal, they haven't mastered Super Saiyan. Vegeta is still very much out of the loop of the group, so he didn't work towards this and just grew pure power. But this does mean both have grade 3 as a transformation. Now, here, Vegeta still goes through a bit of a change. Much like normal, Vegeta's time in the time chamber with Trunks has actually changed him a small amount, and he's a little bit more tolerable here. Now, once these two leave the time chamber, they are actually stronger than Cell's current level of power. But because they heard Cell saying how becoming perfect will make him stronger, they do know that this might not stay like this. They don't know how strong he will get once achieving perfection. And he was talking about it quite highly, so they can imagine that it's probably something they should worry about. With Trunks wanting to go and fight Cell right now to deal with him, the likes of Vegeta and the other Saiyans talk him out of this. It wouldn't be the warrior's way to go about it. Vegeta doesn't want to do it as it would sort of be against his Saiyan nature, and Goku wouldn't want to do it as it would be against his promise. And also, he's kind of looking forward to having a good fight. Now, with this done, the likes of Goku and Gohan head into the time chamber next, and here these two have a huge head start on their canon counterparts, thanks to the fact that both Goku and Gohan are not only stronger, but Gohan is going in already knowing how to use Super Saiyan, meaning that the two don't have to waste any time learning how to do it, meaning they can just work towards mastering the form faster. Alongside this, they spend a full year in the time chamber. They don't know how strong Cell's going to be, and they know they need to be ready for this, so they come out much stronger than in canon. During the time in the time chamber, it probably only took them 6 months to master the form, meaning they had another 6 months to train. And that also means that it's very likely Gohan would have shown a lot more signs of Super Saiyan 2. Gohan could probably access the form very irregularly. It's something that requires a lot of strain to be put on him, but he can just about do it. He's only ever done it twice in the hyperbolic time chamber, and this means that Goku already knows they have pretty much a guaranteed win button with Gohan. And with the pair coming out, Goku comes out with a power level of 29 Bill, his base state, whereas in his Super Saiyan state he has a power level of 1.45 trill. Gohan has a power level of 30 bil in his base, and a power level of 1.6 trill in Super Saiyan. And once these two come out, the last few Saiyans head into the time chamber, given a quick rundown of how to achieve the mastered Super Saiyan form. And the three fighters going in have two fighters who already know how to transform into Super Saiyan, meaning that this has probably cut down their time of having to figure it out pretty dramatically. But they have to spend quite a bit of time teaching present Hisame how to turn Super Saiyan. With the future version already knowing the roadblock that is stopping her, she spends some time helping her and helps her work around the issue that's stopping her. And in under 2 months, the girl had gotten Super Saiyan. With the three starting to work towards mastering the form, they managed to do so in the last 6 months they have. And the lot leave with a power level of, well, Ranma matches his brother in power. Hisame matches her cousin in power, and so does future Hisame. And when I say brother, I mean Goku. With this done, everyone decides to wait until Cell is ready to keep his end of the deal. After all, he's not killed anyone thanks to Kami keeping an eye on him, so this leads to them trusting Cell, and this does confuse the Earthling. And most of the hybrids other than Gohan, who pretty much knows he is the victory button for the group, so they all head off and relax, with the pure-blooded Saiyans knowing they can do this and win. And Goku and Emma do spend the time relaxing, much like in canon, however it's not for like a world-ending event. Now, after 3 days, the group can sense Cell's powers spike up dramatically. With everyone sensing this, they all head off towards the power of Cell, and they catch him as he walks out of the lab, doing some practice jabs. And here we see Cell in his perfected form, with Dr. Gero laughing his head off. He's never been so happy at the power of something. And the good doctor now knows that it was best to give them time, so now their pointless training will mean nothing against his incredible creation. This isn't entirely true though. Cell can sense the power of every fighter, and he is impressed. He knows who he wants to start the fight with, and he's getting ready. Cell already knows he wants to fight the likes of Goku. Goku was the one who offered him the deal. He feels like it's only right that he gets to have the first round. Now, with this done, the two fly up into the air near the mountains, and they face off one another. Goku here is a lot closer to Cell's power thanks to Gohan and him spending a full year in the time chamber, and also thanks to the fact that, well, he got to train with another Super Saiyan in the build up to the androids and also in the hyperbolic time chamber with his son. And that's another great thing. He got to train with Gohan. Gohan here is a much happier fighter thanks to the influence of Hisame, who encourages him to keep going thanks to their rivalry. You see, thanks to this, Gohan has his strategical mind still, and this leads to Goku having some pretty unique ideas on how to take down Cell. And at some point, Goku manages to pretty much almost destroy Cell, taking off the top half of his body. And this is where his regen factor is shown. Now, I wanted to argue that it might be weaker here, thanks to the fact Piccolo isn't around. But let's say for my own headache, he does still have the same amount of regen. And this just means that once Goku pretty much takes off his top half, he grows back and gets a small Zenkai from it. Now, with this done, Goku is pretty winded, having to put a lot of power into this fight, and slowly Goku starts to lose steam. And once Goku is out of steam, Cell decides to end this fight, hitting Goku into the ground and knocking him out, saying how it was a good fight, but when you're perfect, it's hard to beat. Now, the likes of Enma is the next one to step up. After Cell calls him out, after all, he would sort of, promise to have this fight. After all, Cell said he would kill the Sun Bros, and he's only knocked Goku out right now, but he plans on doing it in due time. And the other reason is Goku isn't here to tell everyone that Gohan is going in next. He's unconscious currently, and until he wakes up, Gohan won't be going into the fight without being called out. And when Emma heads into the ring, it's pretty comparable to the match between Goku and Cell, which was from canon. Much like the last fight, these two are very close, and there's not much between them. Enma is able to wear down Cell quite a bit, and thanks to the fact that Goku had made him use a massive amount of energy to, well, regenerate from the attack he took, Lost some stamina, meaning he's pretty tired and he's making a few more mistakes, meaning that Enma can use this time to get a few good hits in. And thanks to this, it leads to them fighting on a bit more level playing field. However, it's clear that Cell is stronger, and thanks to his healing, he's hard to put down. Enma does have a plan though, and he knows that it's kind of risky, but he wants to try it. Knowing that the androids have data on them, Enma wants to use something he's never used before, and he knows it's been shown off before, but he won't be expected to use it. Enma steals the move from his blood brother, putting his arms up in a formation very similar to the Gallic gun, and he charges it up. Cell sort of laughs at this idea, unsure of how Enma would use this. After all, he has no data on the Saiyan knowing this attack, but he's looking forward to seeing how it goes. He feels a weird bit of pride at his younger brother, even though they aren't really close in this timeline and don't talk to each other or treat each other like brothers. That is still his brother, and he's happy to see Tarbal using something that is royal at least. However, after a short charge up, Enma fires the attack off. Cell underestimates it quite a bit, and this leads to him losing an arm, much like the final flash did to him. With Enma happy to see this, and now seeing the weakness of his regeneration, realizes that if he can get one more good attack in like that, he could probably tire Cell out enough that whoever steps into the ring next has a high chance of winning. With him deciding that he will play around with Cell for a little while, Enma uses anything and everything he knows he can use. Things like the multi-form to get a small advantage, the solar flare, the Kamehameha, shooting the Kamehameha from his feet, mouth blasts, anything he can, until he can get Cell into a position he feels comfortable to use his next attack. With him pushing Cell into a mountain, the Saiyan smirks as he begins to violently shoot blasts towards Cell, and he's not holding back on any of these as well. Each blast is hitting as hard as it physically can, with it tearing holes in Cell and some of them not doing much and some of them even missing. He's not going for accuracy, he's going for power. And this leads to Cell having to use a large amount of his stamina to heal this up. With everyone seeing what he was doing, they all now realise that Cell has an ultimate weakness. Yes, his regeneration is annoying, and they have to destroy all of him to take him down. However, using it is clearly draining on the Bugman, and using it in large amounts after multiple uses is going to tire him down. And also waste some of his energy. He is getting Zenghais from this thanks to Saiyan DNA, but it won't mean much when he's out of fuel. Once this is done, Enma lands on the ground, being out of energy himself. He declares that Cell has won this round, and the next fighter will step in. With Enma not really knowing who to send in, the hybrids are the people who think to step in. Vegeta also almost steps in himself, but just before anyone can really think too much, Gohan is the one who flies up to Cell and gets ready to fight. People are shocked as Gohan is normally the one to try and avoid the fights if possible, but it seems the time in the time chamber and his relationship with Hisame has affected him quite greatly. He wants to save the Earth, and he enjoys being a fighter here. So this Gohan is going to try his best, and from the get-go, Gohan is going all out. This isn't an even fight. A very tired and fatigued Cell, who, yes, might be stronger than Gohan in general, can't keep up with a Gohan who's going all out from the get-go. Meaning that Cell is on the back foot quite fast. And this leads to Gohan figuring out that he needs to destroy everything of Cell, down to the tiniest molecule. With him unsure if he can do this, after all, even though he is winning right now, it's only because Cell is tired, so he might need to find a way to take him down. With Gohan summoning up everything he has in him to form a Kamehameha to take him down, Gohan screams as he fires off the attack, activating his Super Saiyan 2 form for a few brief seconds, boosting the Kamehameha's potency even more. This attack eclipses Cell, absorbing him in it, and kills him. With this done, it means the day is won. Dr. Gero in fear begins to run back into his lab, and his last ditch effort is to try and activate Android 16. But upon activation, he looks around and can't see Goku. Dr. Gero pleads for the android to try and fight, but he doesn't. The likes of Vegeta walks in and destroys Dr. Gero. With Android 16 also being destroyed here. No reason to keep him around. The other two androids were a threat before, so it's best to get rid of any others. With this done, the day saved. Goku is soon given a senzu bean and brought back up, and he's happy to hear that Gohan decided to save the day on his own. He was going to recommend Gohan after he lost, but Cell went a little bit too hard on his attack and sort of knocked him out, with the Saiyan sort of nervously laughing. This is where I'm ending this part. I'm sorry if this isn't as good as some of my other stuff. It's not my worst work. I'm not terribly happy with it, but I'm also not upset about it. I feel like I got across everything I wanted to, just in a shorter time, so it ran over some things I would have liked to give some more detail to. And I didn't cover many of the fights, as I felt like most of them would either be like canon with Goku and Cell, and Emma and Cell would be like Goku and Cell. It's pretty simplistic. I always have an issue writing for the Cell saga because I find it particularly bad. I actually love this saga. It introduces my favorite character. It's the arguably the funnest one to rewatch, and I'm looking forward to rereading it soon. But yeah, I just always have a bit of an issue with it because I always feel like it always ends in the same way. It's hard for it to end how it did in canon. The circumstances don't line up too often, and I can't often change it around too much. But I don't know. I really don't, and I just hope everyone enjoyed it. I did this part a lot faster than I would have liked to do, as I sort of needed a bit of a break from doing the long ones. That's why some of my videos have shortened down to 20-ish minutes. I don't know if people have realised. But my more popular ones I'm going to do in much longer formats, as I think it means people will sit down and watch most of them, so my average viewer time will work out quite nicely. After all, it's just so I know people are enjoying what I'm putting out and they can eat it in much more digestible bite-sized bits. I I really don't think it's obvious I don't write a script at all. But with that said, I just want to say thank you all. I hope you have a lovely day or a great night, and I'll see you next time.